So it's in the morning, we've done our walk, we've done our coffee, and before the wind starts, which you know it will, we are in the center of New Mexico, we're on vomit alert. I just wanted to do a couple minutes about what I'm going to call reflections on road culture life. And the reason I wanted to do this with you is there's just a trend, with YouTube, and I have spent the last probably year trying to find my place. And the way that I've found my place is really by discovering what it's not. And now that I feel pretty comfortable with where I want to sit or stand, I thought I would share just a couple of those ideas because I'm feeling kind of excited. It's been a really long road and it's been a bit of a struggle. Well, I spoke too soon. The wind picked up. That never changes. Water's good. It's still catching. Wind, wind, wind. So we found a windless spot, and yes, we are back in the trailer. And like I said, today I wanted to do this reflections on road culture, and today I want to talk about just this YouTube process. And for me, for those of you who've been here a long time, sorry, but I've actually been almost, I think 2007 in July was when I put up my first video, so it's really been 11 years. Wow. But very off and on, in the beginning, and in 2016, I'm like, I want to learn the technology and the technical aspect of video making. So I just dived right in and did all kinds of crazy stuff. And you'll see those in the vlogs 1.0 and 3.0. I think I made 2.0 disappear because, but I got really creative with it because I was enjoying that, but nobody was watching. And then last year, last July, people just started watching, and it was like this whole different thing. And so last February, the channel crashed because YouTube was doing all this weird stuff. And then I was having a lot of things personally happen in December and January. And so I was really off. And I couldn't make these videos because I didn't even know what I was doing. I was trying to deal with some personal things and making some big decisions and life changes. And so that kind of settled down in spring, and then I had, the skin cancer all over everywhere. So I've had a lot of time to reflect about where I wanted to go with this YouTube channel. And so you saw me talk about that a few videos back, but this video I really want to talk about the YouTube process. So that just gives you a little tiny bit of history. But the reality is this is a really interesting and fascinating process, this relationship on YouTube. And so when I call it Road Culture Reflections, I really just wanted to share my side of it because that is, like I said, it's been fascinating. And I don't say any of this as about a judgment about anybody else's process or interaction with YouTube, because clearly lots of other people have been successful. I have not. But it's also been one of the best things I like about having a lot of different experiences is that the more you experience, the more clarity you have about your own self and your own life and your own choices. And the thing I love best about this lifestyle is that it eliminated everything. It put me down to basics like, getting water, living in a very rural environment, living very close to nature, having it be much more physically difficult, and finding out I prefer the physical aspect of life versus going to a job and making a lot of money and paying, for comfort and things like that. And so I learned a lot about myself that I didn't even know. And I think that's where I see such excitement in terms of wanting to do this, is you get to learn about yourself in ways maybe you weren't planning on. The catch is there's also this huge trend to be a YouTube personality. And I am not, so I'm not pretending like I have been successful on YouTube. In fact, I've been the antithesis. I am the anti-RV person. I haven't been successful. I never will be probably in the way that other people are. But again, I wanted to share my side of this because one of the big things that I've been struggling with is how do I bring value to this community? How do I bring value to this platform? And it's not by sharing my personal stuff and feelings. I think a little bit of that is helpful. I think it's nice to have some context. I think that's the beauty of video. You get to see some context, like who were you to talk about this stuff? I'm living it, so I have some credibility. I've been doing it for 7 years like this. I have some credibility. I've been on YouTube for a very long time. I have some credibility. But I don't have the external success that we see with so many other people who are in the RV community or long-term YouTubers. And so there's this idea that, well, you're not doing it right. And that's never been my drive. My drive has always been, how can I bring value? And one of the things that I got really clear about in this process is I can't bring you value by exploiting myself. And I don't want to talk about my personal feelings as a platform, or my personal experiences as a platform, to encourage you to, one, there's a bug climbing on the microphone, to encourage you to engage in this life. I don't think this life is for most people, but I do want to use my experience to encourage you to have as many experiences as possible, and that this is just one of many, and within this kind of road culture life, there are many. And that's really my goal, is to explore how to use this life to move my life forward, your life forward, and culture forward in a way that keeps us connected to our roots, to our essence, to nature, to being healthy, to being happy, to being part of a community in a positive way, and not in a superficial way. I'm not interested in checking out of society to ignore it. I'm interested in how to live in an alternative system so I don't have to be part of the technocracy that is, I think, very dangerous and has a very dark road in front of it. And that's probably my core question that I'm dealing with right now is, can we survive in civilization or society by not going down the technocratic path? Or is the way to survive to step away and to stay as human as possible? And my solution is to be more agile. And part of that agility is what we're covering, in these videos in terms of systems of living. And one of the best, most agile ways to be is to get your life so simple that you can live where you can pick up and move. And it isn't because you want to pick up and move or you have to pick up and move, but that there's flexibility in your thinking and your feeling about how to be in this world. And the other half of that is there always needs to be anchor places. There's always needs to be people who want to embrace where they are, create those deep roots and structural foundations, and be comfortable with people like me and you, for those of you who understand this way of being or want to be in this way, to be part of building something. And that's been, it's been an overlying theme for me since I left a long time ago. But again, one of the things, like you said, like I've said, is that the best way to find out and learn about yourself is to figure out what you're not. And I know people are trying to be helpful in the comments and stuff about telling me what to do, the other RV people are doing, but I don't really want to do that. I am excited about my road. I'm excited about sharing content that's valuable for people who are excited about creating systems and ways of living that aren't conventional, that are part of creating healthy, vibrant, very human, grounded, positive, energized, vibrant people in a community, whether it's a mobile community or a stationary community. In my vision of things, you would have stable places, and you would be able to travel among those stable places. We talked about that in the home base idea. Because it's fun to go back and see people. It's fun to have some consistency in your very unstable life. But the real underlying, thing is the ability to be as agile as the world around you needs it to be. And so that's really been, agility has sort of been the theme that I'm working towards and in reflection of, and that this last year on YouTube has been about constantly experimenting, trying to find what place I wanted to park at, literally, And that's why I split the channel, so that I could be, I could do what I wanted to do, but not inflict that on other people who don't want to experience that kind of content. But there still is an overriding theme, and it's not about, look at me, this is my RV life. It's about, how can I bring value to you? And for those of you who have a little bit of that renegade, rebel, maverick spirit, that don't really want to live in a conventional way, who are excited about the world that we can create and want to pay attention to the world that we're creating, as opposed to just checking out and parking or hiding or disengaging. And, you know, I've done my share of that, but I always kept my eye about what's going on. So I've done a little bit of all of it, and those are the things I think are valuable, that are of value to share with you. But I'm not interested in exploiting, you know, myself or my life in order to get you to watch. I don't want to be one of those people. I want to be the person who's traveling the road less traveled. And the real meaning of that is that both roads are equal. It's just whichever road you pick is the one that's of value for you. And I really want to pick the human road, the one that says people are good, humans are good, this way of living is good. I want to represent this way of living as a very positive, powerful component to creating a really cool new community, a way to be in the world that's very uplifting and empowering for everybody. And part of that, you know, is what we talked about in the last video, is having some, you know, pride in your presentation and having some dignity in your choices, regardless of what other people think, and having, you know, the ability to be flexible, the ability to do lots of different things and not get stuck into a single category. And, you know, places like social media and YouTube, they don't like that. They like containing you, because YouTube is part of the technocracy. And so so that was the lesson I took. It's like, well, let's build something off of YouTube. And that's, you know, something else I'm working on, because this isn't forever. This is temporary. But while we're here, I just wanted to offer a few reflections today about where I'm coming from, what road I'm on, my experience of YouTube a little bit. I'm going to talk about that in greater detail at some point, because I get a lot of questions, or I used to get a lot of questions about how to start a YouTube channel and what kind of, how to make content. Although I think it's hilarious, because I am not the poster child for successful YouTube. If I've learned anything, I will tell you what not to do. But ironically, it's in failure or perceived failure and in not doing the right thing in the right way at the right time that you actually learn the most. So I don't have any regrets about any of this process, but I do understand it's a little bit frustrating watching some of us kind of flop around, even though off of YouTube things are progressing quite nicely. So I just wanted to check in, say hi. We had to step into a trailer because we had to find our way out of the wind, but that's kind of what the trailer is for. It's a little bit of shelter in a very unstable world, and that is my goal, is to create stability within uncertainty by empowering your agility. And that to me is what road culture is all about. The lifestyle is about our agility and our ability to be to handle a lot of instability, because that's probably the hardest thing about this type of lifestyle, is it's very uncertain. But as you know, real life is uncertain too. So far so good. No vomiting. Good boy, Freedom. I'm going to call it a wrap. We're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to see you next time.